Hey y'all. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Hope you guys are well. We are here. I'm just here to give an update actually on some of the latest going on down in Haiti because we've been following this story in Haiti ever since the president, Jovenel Moise, was assassinated, which left a complete vacuum of power. There was a man named Claude Joseph that had been released from his duties as the acting prime minister just days before President Jovenel was assassinated. And there's been this, back and forth, this, between individuals in the country because no one knows who's running the country at this point. No one knows who's in power. Hey, Queen. Hey, what's up, True Seeker? So I wanted to kind of just give you guys an update here on this. Give me just a second because Claude Joseph has now stepped down. Breaking news. He has now chosen to step down as the acting prime minister or the interim acting prime minister for Haiti. He has chosen to step down and he has handed over power at this point to another man. And let me show you all this news clip really quick. Bear with me here. Just bear with me as I bring it out. All right, let me share this with you guys and we'll check this out. All right. Here we go.
Step down, ending a leadership battle that's ensued since the assassination of President Jovenel Moise. Claude Joseph told the Washington Post newspaper that he and Ariel Henry had met privately to resolve the dispute. Well, let's talk to Andy Gallagher in Miami. So, who's running the country at the moment?
Well, obviously, since the assassination of Jovenel Moise on July the 7th, there has been this battle between these two prime ministers, but it now seems to have been settled, and Ariel Henry will now take over. Claude Joseph had assumed that role, which caused a lot of confusion in a country that really needs stability at the moment. But I think the deciding factor in all this is that a core group of international countries backed Ariel Henry. Now, that may bring some solace to the people of Haiti, who are in a very precarious situation since the assassination of Jovenel Moise. But we're still waiting for free and fair elections to happen, because remember, Moise had stayed in office a year after he should have, because they couldn't get elections up and running. That's really what needs to happen. The date for that is late in the fall, perhaps September. But again, all the elections I've seen there over the past few years have been very problematic. But at least this is potentially, for those in Haiti worried about their own security, a step in the right direction.
And is there any more information coming about what actually happened on the day of the killing?
Yeah, we have had some reports that in the early hours of Wednesday morning on July the 7th, Jovenel Moise was desperately making phone calls to various different police officials asking for help. We're also getting some reporting that anyone that was making their way towards Jovenel Moise's house on the outskirts of Port-au-Prince would have had to go through a few layers of security to actually make it to his house. So that once again raises the question of who was involved, who is the mastermind behind this attack. And we still don't know that answer. But we do know that none of his security officials were harmed in that assassination attempt, which really begs the question, who knew about this, who knew what was going to happen, and why were they involved? At the moment, there are a couple of key figures, but that seems to change on a daily basis. So that investigation to find out who was behind the assassination of Jovenel Moise is still ongoing. It's cast a very wide net at the moment. There are something like 18 former military people from Colombia involved, but who is behind the attack? And why they carried it out still seems to be unknown.
Andy, thanks very much. Andy Gallagher in Miami.
All right. So yeah, it's and I've got some additional details that I need to share with you guys. Hey, concealed ringleader. Hey, what's up, Michael? How are you? Hey, Centel, how are you? So I've got some additional details that I need to share with you guys regarding Mr. Jovenel Moise. There's been some photos that have been released, and I'm not going to show those here, but these photos seem to show the president's body after he was killed. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about this investigation that's been conducted so far, and I want to talk a little bit more about the details that happened the night that this operation was carried out. Unfortunately, it has been revealed, investigators have revealed that Haiti President Jovenel Moise was tortured before he was killed. Um, he was tortured by the perpetrators. He was abused in his room while his daughter ran for safety. While his son and other staff were forcibly silenced, from my understand, tied up. President Jovenel Moise had broken bones in his right arm and leg. The group of killers involved 2 Americans and 26 Colombians, and 4 of the suspects have been killed. 2 of the Americans have been identified as Joseph Vincent and James Salage, both of Haitian descent. Haitian ambassador to the U.S. Baket Edmond described the 2 men as commanders, assassins, and trained professionals. Again, this Haiti is now in the midst of chaos at this point. It's absolute chaos at this point. I also want to speak on a little bit more here. So the autopsy that was done on President Moise showed that his left eye had been gouged out. He was shot a total of 12 times, including the rib cage, his lower abdomen, his left femur, and a photo of his skull shows a fracture between the frontal bone and the parietal bone. In other words, they tortured him, as I was mentioning earlier, so they beat him. They broke his bones and then shot him. There is a graphic photo going around that purports to show the body of slain President Jovenel Moise on social media. But there is, discussion that may actually not even be a photo of him, and that it's actually someone else, a Haitian attorney, who was killed outside his home August of last year. So I wanted to make sure I put all of those details as far as, the fractures on his arm and his right foot, and to give you, additional details. Now, just know that Jovenel Moise was 53 years old. He took office in 2017 after a contested election, and he failed to hold elections for the last year while amending the Constitution. And, the point that I've always made is when you run for office, you know what the rules are when you ran. If there's a designated time, then that's the designated time. But what people don't like is when you go into office and then you try to, you just try to take it, and you just try to stay in office past the time that you know that you were elected for. Somehow, and there's talk about the security for Mr. President Jovenel Moise was, there's talk about, how in the world did they get by security? Not one single one of these security officers was injured. How did that happen? They should be the first suspects, right? They are supposed to be an elite force. They are protecting the president of their country. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Now, more additional details. They say that the autopsy was actually pretty brutal to do. It was very difficult to do. And it was very obvious that it was a professional hit. Now, how is Miss Martine doing? How is Martine Moise doing? She is the wife of President Jovenel Moise, who was killed. She seems to be doing okay. She has now returned to Haiti. She's been released from the hospital in Miami 10 days after surviving this attack in her private residence with her husband. She was seen wearing an arm sling and a bulletproof vest after arriving by plane at Port-au-Prince. Her husband, again, as we know, this assassination was carried out on July the 7th. And she has managed to survive this attack, which originally we received information that she had not, but she survived the attack. Flanked by security agents, she was pictured being greeted by the interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph, who has now stepped down, and other officials. She has made few comments since the attack, for which police have blamed a group of foreign mercenaries, most of them Colombians. But from her hospital bed, she recorded an audio message in which she described the moments assassins riddled her husband with bullets after bursting into their home in the middle of the night. Ms. Moise said the attack happened so quickly that her husband was unable to say a single word. Let's see if we can get that audio. One moment. I'm going to play this audio for you. And this was her speaking for the first time after the attack. You could see Haiti, Port-au-Prince, where the attack took place at their private residence. These folks were paraded in front of, let's see, where's the audio clip? There is an audio clip. Give me a second. Where'd it go? I just had it. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I just had it. She actually spoke out. I may have to. Hold on. Okay, so the clip is in Creole. So I'm just going to go ahead and read what it says. Quote, I am alive, thanks to God. But I have lost my husband, Jovenel. In the blink of an eye, the mercenaries entered my home and riddled my husband with bullets without even giving him a chance to say a word. I am crying. It is true, but we cannot let the country lose its way. So That is the statement that President Jovenel Moise's wife said. And that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. I just wanted to give you guys an update on this story. And now that Claude Joseph has stepped down and Ariel Henry will now be the acting prime minister in the country of Haiti, it's going to be very interesting to see how things, turn out. This country has been in political upheaval for the longest. And honestly, I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Pray for Haiti. Until next time.